There's something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware. I think it's time we stop, children. What's that sound? Everybody look what's going down.
Okay, welcome back to my podcast. With me today is Nina Foran. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm fantastic because we have a great show tonight. Let's just get right into the podcast. Where are you living right now? You're in the United States, right?
So I am in Connecticut, which is the state in between New York and Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So we're right between New York City and Boston.
Mm-hmm. How bad do you think this will be for the economy in the end? Coronavirus, of course.
So I personally have a few friends that have already lost their jobs because of the coronavirus. I know there's a lot of businesses that have been shutting down. Restaurants have had to lay off people. I think it could be really bad. Personally, I'm trying to, take out food from a restaurant at least twice a week to try to keep that going. I've been doing a little more online shopping than normal, trying to do my part, but I think it could be pretty detrimental.
Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of people that are working off of a check-to-check basis, I believe, in the United States, and it's going to be pretty bad for them because they will not be able to live very well after this.
Yeah, I know in the United States, I believe there was I don't have the exact number, but it was over 1 million people have signed up for unemployment within the last 2 weeks because millions of people are losing their jobs. And, even if they have a job when the restaurant or the business opens back up, they don't have a paycheck for right now, like you said. So they need some kind of money to live off of. So it's been really hard for those people. I'm lucky enough that I am still working from home, so I do still get my biweekly paycheck, but most people are not as lucky.
Do you think the outbreak will be good for the environment, or do you think it'll be not so good? What are your thoughts?
I think it could be good because there's less planes flying. People aren't driving as much. In the United States, especially in cities, we drive everywhere. We don't ride our bikes, we don't walk, we are not very as environmentally conscious as some other countries. So I know I went out just to, go quick to drive around and, get out of my house. And there was no real cars on the road. So I think that could be helpful for the environment. My one concern is if everybody's going to the same parks or beaches or that kind of thing, I'm curious to see if those areas will be, not as well taken care of, and if that will be negative for those areas.
Yeah. Anyways, so you're a teacher, right?
Yes.
And where do you teach?
I teach 9th grade English, which is first year of high school. I teach in an urban district, so most of my kids are lower income. I believe they did a survey and most of our students have devices, but not all of them have internet, or if they don't have a device, they have internet. So, not very, not all of my students are very well off. 100% of my students get free lunch, so.
Mm-hmm. Has it been challenging to teach over online courses? Right? Has that been challenging?
So we haven't started our online courses. The United States is a little bit behind European countries because the virus came over, obviously a little slower. So our students start tomorrow, but teachers have been working for the last 2 weeks. So the biggest challenge that we've had is getting kids internet and getting kids a computer or a tablet or something to do their work on. We are distributing Chromebooks to families that don't have devices, but they're not going to get their devices until at least Tuesday this week. So kids are supposed to start their assignments tomorrow, but some kids aren't going to have a computer to start them until Thursday or Friday.
Mm-hmm. Do you like the American school system, or do you have any cons to it?
I think there's a lot of, I think it's a good system. I think there's a lot of inequities around the system. So, for example, Connecticut is one of the richest states. We have some of the, people with the highest income in the country, but we also have people with some of the lowest income in the country. So it's hard when it comes to something like education, because every student is supposed to have, an equal opportunity to be successful. But if one person's family makes millions of dollars a year and one person's family makes, $10,000 a year, it creates a little bit of differences, and different opportunities. If it's a single parent household with 5 kids and the oldest has to babysit, whereas there's another household where they have a nanny, that translates into the classroom. And I have kids that, don't know where they're going to get their next meal, or don't know where they're, what, if they're going to be safe when they go home, if they have a roof over their head. And that all of those things go into the classroom. And I think that that's a flaw that's often not discussed in American education. We pick the average student and we assume everybody's the average student. And if you're a district where your kids are of a lower income or do have outside factors that affect their education, we just kind of, you as a district figure it out. As a country, we're not going to deal with it. So I do think the coronavirus and making everything online is kind of opening up some of those discussions that we haven't had as a country ever, really.
Do you think it could change education, like in the long run?
Yeah, I think that, I think it's going to be, so we're in a presidential year in the United States, so we're hopefully electing a new president in November. I'm not sure if the election date will change with the coronavirus, but I think that this is going to make education a much larger part of presidential campaigns than it has been in the past, because some of these inequities have been brought to light. I think that online education is going to be a much bigger thing to it in the United States, although I think a few other countries have been as well. And I think that's a positive. Teachers are learning how to use technology that we haven't really had to use yet. So